So I have spent years mastering the art of being busy, being very productive. But as we get ready to travel in 6 months, I am really realizing that I need to learn the art of calmness and relaxation and learning how to let myself be in the moment and not go into busy mode. And I've done a lot of work on this over the years. I'm a lot better than where I was 10 years ago, but I still have so far to go. I realize if I don't learn how to slow down now, I am simply going to be living my Wisconsin life wherever we are abroad. And that's not the point of what we're doing. My body called my bluff recently, and I ended up in the ER with really high blood pressure. And this is something I've dealt with before after having the C word. And again, I had it in December, and then a few weeks later, I ended up with this big spike. And it's scary when that happens. It's like an emergency level situation. And it's kind of forcing me to actually sit with the health changes that I know I need to make. And not just physical, but mental, emotional, supporting my mental health. Because for the first time, when I had to sit in front of the doctor and say, yes, I feel stressed. I feel a ton of stress. Normally, I feel like I have that handled. And yes, I'm balancing a lot of things, but I'm good. This time, I don't have it handled. And I think part of maybe being sick in December just brought my natural defenses down. But it also reveals sometimes in situations like that we shouldn't be balancing that many things if we don't have to in the first place. So, in order to not simply recreate this Wisconsin life wherever we're traveling, I am integrating some calming life changes into the mix. And I wanted to share what those are. And the second part of intention for this video is I know so many of you who watch this channel are just wise. You've lived life and you have your own life experiences. And I know that there are some of you who probably have some great advice in this area. So I would love to hear from you. If you would be so kind and listen to what I'm already doing, and then you can comment, I would love that because it's such a vulnerable subject that I am already a little wobbly on it. So I feel pretty confident in most areas of my life, and this is one where I just struggle. I get busy. I want to live in my mind and problem solve and take care of things. I have a really hard time coming down into my body and being present fully. So here's some of the things I'm doing. I'm retraining my mind, my routine. In the mornings before I look at my phone, I am waking up at dawn. I'm getting sunlight in my eyes, really working towards getting in tune again and realigning with my circadian rhythms. I'm not looking at my phone for the first hour. So instead, what I've been doing is I put just a quick 5 to 8 minute meditation on while I'm still in bed. So before I even got out of bed, I just pushed play and laid there and listened to this. Then get up and go outside when the sun is rising. Then doing just some quick journaling. All of this is taking about 15 minutes total, maybe 20. Then getting a little bit of movement in, starting my day with some breakfast and some tea. I'm switching away from my normal coffee in the morning and switching to some peppermint tea. It feels good. It feels like it really is a healthy switch for me right now. And then I'm going back to basics. I'm just recutting out sugar, at least drastically cutting it down. I've let it kind of sneak in over the holidays. Caffeine, even though I don't have a lot of it, I'm just watching that in salt since the blood pressure thing suddenly is reoccurring. I've had it under control for years. And in fact, I've been off medication for a while because I hadn't gotten it good just through some other health things, practices, losing a little weight, just some things, and it dropped back. I was always kind of hovering around normal. I'm trying to get at least 8,000 steps. I work at my computer. I'm a student. I have to be very intentional about every step that I get. So it's fine. I just need to be really in tune with that and make that a priority. And especially this time of year where everything outside is icy and slushy and gross, just finding ways to make that happen. And then drinking more water. I know once you start drinking water, you crave water, and I've just been out of the habit a bit. I've been having a lot of just flavored drinks, even if they're just with a little stevia in it, just something, and I need to switch that, so I crave water again. So my to-do list, we have 6 months until we leave. We're selling everything. I'm graduating college in May. I live in the Twin Cities where the chaos level and the stress level is like nothing I've ever experienced before. It's a lot right now in my life. I homeschool. My son is working towards his Eagle merit badge in the next few months. We're balancing all of these things. I can't do much about some of them, but I'm trying to really get honest with myself and say maybe there's 20% of each of those lists that I can take off my list. What are some things in the house that actually don't need to be done, or that could be just done more efficiently, or I can ask my son to help with, things like that. What are things with school that I can make a lighter mental load? And some of that is simply, I have almost a 4.0 grade point average. I work really hard. I like learning. I take a lot of pride in it. But at the end of the day, not that it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter. And I need to just take a breath a little bit and make sure that I'm not over prioritizing school. My business, I don't even know if I mentioned that before, but my business, I'm transitioning it. So that's a lot. But instead of using this time as the time to come up with all of the possible ideas, I'm going to let most of them just simmer for a bit and not act on every idea that I have and stay focused on the other areas that I've already committed to. I'm somebody that has ideas all day, every day, businesses I want to start, products I want to launch, create paintings, all the things. So that is not an area where I lack in. My problem is suddenly I wake up and I have 5 million offerings, and then I need to update them and maintain them. And that's where my exhaustion level peaks. So also with the house, we are giving ourselves 30 to 60 days to decide if we're going to rent out our house or sell. Right now we're at about 95% sell. Something happened when we made the decision. We never thought we'd sell this house. But starting about a year ago, we started having the conversation and then slowly have leaned more and more into that. And something has clicked to where I love this house and I'm so grateful for this property and our time here, but I no longer feel connected to it. I think I can simply look at it and say thank you and be ready to move on and know that there's another place that will work better for us for this next phase of life and be okay with that. So like I said, we're about 95% sure we're both at that same place. But some of it will come down to some numbers and some things like that, and kind of doing a gut check here in the next 30 to 60 days. And then living in the Twin Cities, like I said, I have a lot of friends who are immigrants and have really felt the brunt of what's happening here. And if you're not in tune with what's happening in Minneapolis, it's not only immigrants that are feeling this. It's everybody is feeling this. There's something like 80% of the people who've been arrested do not have a criminal background, do not have anything. Like, it's horrifying what's happening. And the stress levels of actually watching people that you know go through this, the towns that you've frequented, seeing them on the news, the people you know, seeing them on the news, it's so hard to try to stay in a calm mental state during that. Because first off, it affects you and it affects the people you love, and you don't want to just sit there and act like nothing's happening. That's not who I am. I know that's probably not who you are. And yet, this scrolling or this form of like working each other up about it, that's not healthy either. And when I'm sitting in the ER a few weeks ago and my blood pressure was as high as it was, it's a reality check that I can't sustain taking it all on. So I am not checking out, but I'm going to very intentionally stay in tune with a few sources and do what I can do as far as action and then tune out. Because sitting in the energy of all of the unknowns and the frustration isn't helping me. And if I'm literally not here anymore, that's not going to help anybody. So I don't need to stroke out or any of that stuff because I've let it get to me to that point. That's not going to help any of that. And it's only going to take the people that I love, their energy away from helping others to now having to deal with my issues, which is not what anybody needs. So that's how I'm handling that. Yeah, mostly I'm not simply prepping to just go travel and vacation. We're moving our lives abroad. And part of the goal with that is to simplify and give us this time where we've had these really beautiful, wonderful chapters in life, but we're ready for a change. And so in order for a change to happen, I have to change a little bit. So this is my on-ramp, my 6-month on-ramp to start to implement some of those lifestyle behaviors and changes so that by the time we do travel, it's not a crash landing into me now sitting there in a hotel, busy working all day. That's not what any of us want. And I certainly don't want to waste this opportunity by being stuck in my patterns. And those are my patterns, but we all have them in different ways. I love what I do and I love helping people and I love planning. So all of these things I love doing. And some of them will naturally wrap up once we're now sitting overseas and the house is potentially sold. My business has shifted. My son has his Eagle Scout stuff. The to-do projects, like DIY stuff, is no longer. Some of that will naturally take care of itself. I'll be graduated. But I have no doubt I could fill 100 hours a week in just like my work and not even think twice if I let myself. I can go into this manic work mode that gives me a high, but it makes me forget all of the rest of life. So it's not the goal. So working smarter, not harder is the goal. If you've experienced anything like this, I now invite you to share if you have any tips. We all have different areas where we're strong at or have wisdom. And I'm really good at helping people dream big and reach goals. This is just this other part of life I have to kind of bring up to speed. So I'm using the same techniques I do for my other things. I'm integrating it. I'm finding ways to just make minor changes because I don't have the option to simply cut a bunch of stuff out right now. So I'm very calculatingly looking at each part and doing that. We can make big changes when we know we need to, and they're not always the fun ones. But I'm going to share this journey these next few months as I am continuing to integrate it. And as I'm sharing everything else, I'll keep you updated. So thank you for watching. Bye.